All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something huge, something that's practically invisible but keeps our entire world moving. I'm talking about the North American road network. It's like the circulatory system for our economy, pumping goods across 3 different countries. And believe me, it's way more complicated than just a bunch of highways on a map.
No, I'm serious. Just look around you right now. That phone in your hand, the coffee mug on your desk, the very chair you're sitting in, chances are every single one of those items spent some time on the back of a truck. That's how deep this goes. It's woven into the fabric of our everyday lives.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. Think about it. Trains, ships, they're great, but they can't pull up to your front door. Trucks can. That's their superpower, that last mile door-to-door delivery. They are the final, absolutely essential piece of the puzzle for pretty much every single thing we buy. You just can't replace them.
Okay, so building this massive network was, well, it was a fight. And the very first opponent? The land itself. You know, North America's geography is this wild mix. It's both a trucker's best friend and their worst enemy.
And that contrast is just everything. On the one hand, you've got the Great Plains. We're talking a trucker's paradise, right? Just miles and miles of flat, open road. Perfect for making good time. But then you hit the mountains, the Rockies, the Appalachians. These are just colossal walls of rock that force trucks to crawl up winding, treacherous passes. It burns more fuel, it's dangerous, and it slows the whole system down, especially when the snow starts to fly.
So what's the solution to a problem that big? How do you tame a continent? Well, you build one of the most incredible highway systems the world has ever seen. So let's trace some of these key economic lifelines, the routes that are humming with trucks 24/7.
All right, up in Canada, you've got the Trans-Canada Highway, which is basically the country's main east-west backbone. But when it comes to trade, the real story is what's happening at the border. You've got the I-5 corridor, which is a vital link between British Columbia's ports and the U.S. West Coast. And then there's the big one, Highway 401. I mean, that thing is the absolute lifeblood for the auto industry around the Great Lakes.
Then we head south, and the U.S. interstate system is really the heart of the whole operation. You've got I-95 running all the way down the East Coast, with I-5 doing the same thing out on the Pacific. And for those epic cross-country trips, well, that's where the two giants, I-80 and I-40, come in. They are the workhorses connecting the two coasts, plowing right through all the major hubs.
And we absolutely cannot talk about this without talking about Mexico. It's become a manufacturing beast. The main artery here is Highway 57. Think of it as a straight shot from the factories around Mexico City right up to Laredo, Texas. And Laredo, wow, it is the single busiest land port in North America. These routes are critical for getting all those goods into the U.S.
So, we've got this amazing, sprawling network, right? It sounds great on paper, but it's not always a smooth ride, not by a long shot. The system is full of friction points, jams, and bottlenecks that can grind everything to a halt.
And you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, with all those millions of miles of highway, why are there ever delays? It's a totally fair question. You'd think it would be a well-oiled machine, but the reality on the ground is a lot messier.
Well, it really comes down to 3 big headaches. First, you've got plain old traffic. I'm talking soul-crushing gridlock around hubs like Chicago and LA. Second, and this is a huge one, we just don't have enough drivers. The driver shortage is real, and it's a major problem. And third, those international borders we talked about, they can be a massive slowdown. And speaking of borders, they are not all created equal. Oh no. The difference between crossing into the US from Canada versus from Mexico is just, it's night and day. Let's actually look at the numbers. So you're a truck driver coming in from Canada. On a typical day, how long are you waiting? Usually less than an hour. It's a pretty streamlined, efficient process for the most part. Okay, now let's flip that. You're coming up from Mexico. The wait time? We're not talking hours anymore. We're talking 1 to 2 days. And if inspections get really tight, that can balloon to a full week. A week! Imagine what that does to a supply chain. It's an absolutely crushing delay.
So you take all of this stuff, the tough terrain, the traffic jams, the insane border delays, and you roll it all together. What do you get? You get costs. Big ones. And that's the final part of this story. What does it actually cost to move things around?
So let's break it down. On average, it costs about 5 cents to haul 1 ton of stuff for 1 kilometer. Now, 5 cents, that sounds like nothing, right? But just wait. Let's see what happens when you apply that to a real trip. This is where it gets real. You want to ship one truckload of goods from LA to New York? You're looking at a bill for maybe $10,000. That is a massive cost. And guess who ends up paying for it in the end? We do, every time we buy something at the store.
So why so expensive? What's driving that price tag? Well, a huge piece of the pie is driver wages. That driver shortage we mentioned means companies have to pay more to attract and keep them. Then you've got insurance. Premiums have absolutely skyrocketed. And of course, there's the stuff you'd expect, fuel and tolls, which are always a factor.
And it's not just about the money you can see on a balance sheet. There are all these other risks lurking out there. That driver shortage, it's not just about paying more. It means there's a hard limit on how much stuff can even be moved. Then there's cargo theft. We're talking over $200 million a year in stolen goods, especially around big hubs. And you can never forget about the weather. One bad storm can literally freeze the supply chain for days, causing chaos that ripples across the entire continent.
Which brings us to the big, looming question. This network, it's the lifeblood of our modern world. It brings us literally everything we need and want. But with costs going up, the workforce shrinking, and the friction in the system getting worse, you have to ask, how fragile is it? How long can this incredible, vital system keep running smoothly before something gives?